Well, hello. Here I am. It's Julie, and I'm doing my very first broadcast without my training wheels, Mr. Peckham. So go easy on me. I'm hoping everything's going to go great. So I want to welcome you tonight to my first installment of Real Talk with Jules. Anything can happen here, folks. So tonight we're going to have a special guest, one of my dear friends from, oh gosh, a while ago, right, Ange? I can see her back there going, yeah, it's been a while. But anyhow, Angela Marks. I'm going to bring her on in a second. Today we're going to talk about some things in the community that I feel have been forgotten. Or maybe we are not really forgetting, but just nobody's talking about it because we are not together. And community, as I said in the past, is this. Several. It's not just one. So I am only one person, but with you, we can do lots of great things. And so today I wanted to talk with Angie Marks. Angie Marks is coming to us from the Women's Interval Home. Good day, young lady. How are you?
Hello, Julie. I'm doing good.
Good. I want to thank you for coming out. I want to thank you for, well, not being afraid. I mean, seriously, this is the pilot. We are on the pilot, and I appreciate your faith in me. I really do.
Awesome. I've watched you practicing. You've done amazing, and I'm happy to be here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's talk about us for just a second. How do we know each other?
Well, the fact that you introduced me as Angela Marks, a very long time. I lost Angela when I went away to college. And everybody started calling me Angie. But anybody who knows me pre that calls me Angela. So there we go.
There you go.
And that was just like maybe a short period of time ago, actually, maybe.
Maybe just a few. Oh, that's not too long. Look at, we even have people on here. Mr. Morrison. Okay, Julie. Yes, thank you, Julie. I'm glad you brought that up. This background behind me, I'm just going to give it a quick look. This is one of my favorite pieces in my house, and this is just a path to endless possibilities. So it's fitting for today, I would say. So yes, we've known each other for a while, went to high school together, bumped into each other when our kids went to grade school. I mean, seriously, that was weird.
Yeah, and the same age they are.
I know.
Our two oldest.
Yes. And how are your kids doing?
Pretty good.
Is Jarrett
still living at home?
Oh, is Jarrett still with the Legionnaires, or is that?
No. He finished up there. He was in Colorado for a year, and then moved to Saskatchewan, and decided to come home in January. So he's been going to Lambton College and living home.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's nice. It's good. Okay, so then we stumbled across each other just over time, over the last couple years out and about. I bumped into you, and you had asked me if I'd be interested in helping you with a project. Can I bring that up?
Sure.
Okay. So you had reached out to me, and this was prior to COVID, before COVID. So we'll say BC, okay? BC, before COVID. So it is what, like 90 days? I guess it wouldn't be BC. It would, anyway, never mind. But before COVID, we bumped into each other, and you were looking at setting up some type of event for the women's shelter. And you had approached me and asked me if I would be part of that. So, and of course I agreed. And then we were talking some more, and then all of a sudden this COVID happened. And I said, obviously nothing can be done right now, but that doesn't mean nothing can be done, if that makes any sense. It's just got to be different. So I was like, you are going to be my first person, because I am very passionate about what you do. The Women's Interval Home is they're a good place. And I have a lot of, respect for all the folks that work there, and for the folks that live there, the ones that stop in on their journey to better things, So I do commend all of you for that.
I like that, Julie. The ones that stop in there,
on their way to their next
journey.
to their better things.
It's a stepping stone, and I like the way you said that, because it is a stop in, and that's our goal, is to move them along to their goals and their dreams. Yeah.
And yes.
It is a journey, right? It's not just we do this and life is great on the other side. It's a journey. There's a lot that happens behind these closed doors that help women and children.
Yes. Okay. So that being said, young lady, I'm going to give a couple just to the folks that are watching. I don't know how many there are. There is a way for me to look, but it's okay. I'm just talking here with you, Ange. So that's all that matters to me right now. People can watch this later, and the information is going to be out there forever because that's what the internet is all about. So I do ask anyone who's watching to please use the comments. You can leave a question, a comment for Angie, but please, whatever, be kind. This is not the place to be ugly and spout your nonsense. This is more about helping the people that need it. Okay, so that is a request of you, and I am actually going to play a little video that I made, a little promo video that I had made for Angela. I don't know if anyone saw it, but you're gonna see it now, folks. So I'm gonna play this, and when it's done, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of what we can do to help you, Angela, and all the folks that you encounter on a daily basis, okay? All right, here we go.
I just love that too.
I was dancing.
In the end, the chick in the garage. I already told you how much I love that.
Thank you. I love my chick in the garage. I'm you know what it is? It's cute, isn't it? It's super cute.
It is. It's super awesome.
Okay. So, for those of you just tuning in, my name is Julie, and I am having a chat with a dear friend, Angela Marks. She's the director of the Women's Interval Home in Sarnia, Lambton. I was doing some research, and there was something also about the sexual assault survivors. Are you part of that? That as well?
I'm the executive director of the Sexual Assault Survivor Center as well.
Oh, wow. So we can definitely talk about that a little bit, yeah? Okay,
yeah,
good.
For sure.
So let's start off with this. What has your experience been on your area of the world since this pandemic has hit? Can you give us a little snapshot into the reality of what's happening in the domestic violence world of our community or Sarnia Lambton?
Yeah, it was very quick actually, Julie, and astonishing to see what happened. In particular, the shelter. We have been at capacity for the last 2 years, and so we're funded for 17 beds. But because of our community and the funding that comes in, we're able to actually have 24 beds available.
Okay.
And in March, we had 17 children in our shelter. By March 13th, when the announcement was made, and I will not forget these dates because it happened, it's just so vivid to me. March 13th is when we actually were beginning to get the information and how we were going to be moving into this pandemic. Monday, the weekend happened. We were working around the clock, setting up our services and preparing ourselves for this pandemic, making lots of different arrangements. Women left the shelter, whether they reconciled with their partners or we were able to expedite their housing because they didn't want to be in the shelter through this pandemic. By the time Monday came, we were down to 8 people in shelter. And that's how quick that happened. So,
Wow.
we learned a lot from this pandemic, and fear is real. And the fear of the pandemic overrode the fear of perhaps an abuser. Communal living is not good for sure. It's not the best way to live, but it's certainly a safe house, and we have programming and different arrangements within our shelter to make it an enjoyable stay. However, through the pandemic, we've had to make extreme changes in our shelter, where we were allotted, or actually, I guess we had the ability to open up a secondary location so that we could provide social distancing and separate the women, putting lower risk clients at the other location and maintaining our high risk clients at the shelter. So it was so big. And even Sexual Assault Survivor Center, right? They had to change their services as well to more of a virtual model. So online or over the phone. It's huge. I think of how much we've experienced. It's crazy where we are today.
Am I understanding you correctly that you said your numbers dropped when the pandemic hit? And that's because women were afraid and went home?
Home or stayed with family. A lot of women went to stay with their families. They knew that we were going to be isolated for a period of time. And the thought of that is scary, to be in a shelter, not be able to see your family. I guess there wasn't really a definition of what did that isolation look like. So they weren't going to take a chance. They may have maintained contact over the phone, but they went and stayed with family.
I see what you're saying. So they chose they didn't want unfortunately, they didn't want to be locked in without a lot of, yes. Because you had mentioned that if anyone that stays there does go out and venture out, they have to self-isolate or something. Mm-hmm. Is that still what you're doing?
It's really shifted. It shifted a lot since we were able to provide the social distancing and make sure that people weren't in contact with each other. So, we really created a platform in our services that maintained the health and safety of both staff and clients. So then we were able to give them some right to choice. Yes. I think that was the hardest part, Julie, is we were making decisions for women who were controlled in their abusive situation, and then here we are isolating them under this roof, and it just didn't feel right. We started using language like, if a woman returns and is displaying symptoms, she's not allowed in the shelter. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what's our language here? We need to change this up. Like, this isn't the way we talk. So yeah, a lot of learning through this.
There is I'm finding that you're not alone. It's everywhere, right? So much learning everywhere. So, okay. So, question though, what are you guys going to be doing? Like, so you're saying people call in? Like, how are people contacting you? What are people doing? What's the protocol to contact you now? How do they do that?
They still show up at our door. They can call. Our crisis line is still available. They can call 24/7. We still are staffed in our residential shelter, just the same as we were previously. So there's somebody available by phone. There's somebody available to do drop-in. Now, that drop-in looks a little different, right? The room we use is separated so that we have that space between the counselor and the client. The protocol coming in through the door is like hand sanitizing, put on a mask if you have symptoms, no mask if you don't, take the temperature, ask the screening questions. It's quite a process. Yes. But I think people are very favorable, and we've heard comments that they're very happy to see that we're following these protocols.
Well, those protocols are to protect them, and that's what they're there for. They're there for protection. I mean, you care, right? You care. So, okay, so let's talk about, listen, I'm just like, let's talk about, not so much to say. What'd you have for dinner? Oh yeah, what did you have for dinner? You stayed at work just for this, you said.
I did, but I brought my dinner. It was eggplant parmigiana. It was so good. Good.
The perks of being an Italian.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know, what would you recommend family or friends do if they know someone who needs help?
Ask the questions. Just ask, closing questions. Do you need help? Do you need me to come over? Just simple yes, no questions offers the ability to be able to answer the questions. don't isolate. I know that people can't go into each other's houses. Those things are starting to lift now, which is great. And we can talk about how our services is now changing since our phase 2 has started. But be there, create opportunities to communicate by phone. I love the visits through the window. Don't stop visiting. Go.
Yes.
What do they
Be
call
present.
Yeah, but what did they call peeping toms?
We are not going to encourage peeping toms, okay? What is wrong with you? What is wrong?
No, knock on the window. It's a whole new world.
So
be available. You're right.
Okay. Now, how long have you been at the center or at the home?
Started at the home in 2006 as a domestic violence counselor, and I've been in the executive director role just over a year.
Good for you. Yeah. One of the perks of having you on here when I created that little promo video was creeping your page. I've become a creeper. I guess that's no better than a peeping Tom. We're encouraging creeping. Okay, so I was having fun checking out some of your stuff, which I do have a picture I want to ask you about later. So let's talk about men. Okay, so we talk about women all the time and the women that are in abused relationships. And let's be real here. There are a lot of women that aren't very nice. And there are a lot of men that are being abused. Okay, so it goes the other way. So we got to advocate for those guys. Victims of domestic abuse, whether you're male or female. What is there out there? Is there anything for men? What would you recommend for a man?
Well, the Sexual Assault Survivor Center actually offers support to all genders.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, so they do have counseling there for men. The Women's Interval Home would never turn away a call from a man, and they would allow a man tell the story, and we would connect them with the resources in terms of counseling. So maybe the Family Counseling Center would be our number one referral option. Yeah, so we wouldn't turn them away. But in terms of a house, there isn't. And I think we have to remember that, yes, I believe that all genders, are experiencing violence of some sort. We do need to remember that it's still a gender-based issue, and that women are more prevalent to be victimized by a male partner. The statistically proven, we know that the numbers are greater. So, because of that, the funding is greater for our services. But I agree. We recognize that men are also being abused, and I think that already in Ontario, services are shifting, and they are making room for those conversations to occur.
Okay, so let's move on to the Sexual Survivor Center part of you. Let's put your other hat on. Tell me about that. Is that all based at the women's shelter as well, or how did that come about? I thought they were two separate entities. I thought they were separate things. Okay. Explain. Details, please. Details.
So it all started off with our wonderful Michelle Batty, previous executive director, who was approached. Our executive director at the Women's Interval Home had left, and Michelle Batty was approached to assist with this program. And then she stayed here for 6 years. And so it just made sense to have an executive director for both agencies. And it works really effectively. I see us as sister agencies who work very collaboratively together. But we are two separate entities. And the work is very different. The work that Sexual Assault Survivor does is very unique. Their focus is, of course, sexual violence. They do a lot of public education in our community, from going to schools. They work with younger kids, which is really the big preventative work, which I love so much. And I think that is, one of my main focus for both agencies is to continue to do a lot more preventative work. And the other thing they focus on is human trafficking. So they received a funding grant. I guess I can say we. Hello. We received a funding grant.
Nice.
for human trafficking. And so we have two designated counselors that work with human trafficked victims. They offer a lot of programming and, again, a lot of prevention of understanding what human trafficking is and how it comes about and how it impacts us here in Sarnia, Lambton, because I think people still see it as a international problem and not something that happens here within our own community. And the numbers are high.
Okay, I live in a bubble. Okay, because you're like, I'm just like, bam, human trafficking in Sarnia?
Yeah. You know what? I don't have my stats, and I don't really want to rhyme off stats because I'm trying to think.
So are we talking, like, when I think of human trafficking, I think of, I know, I'm a little ignorant, sorry. I think of movies, you know, when I think of dragging up a girl or a guy and selling them on the market somewhere.
You're not alone, Julie, though.
Please
that
explain.
Is what people think.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't understand. Like, how is it happening in our city? How is this happening? Please tell me.
Well, our most at risk are our 13-year-old young girls going to school. And it starts by a grooming process, right? So, you know, even our boys who are groomed to be able to groom girls to be human trafficked, right? So they start off as their boyfriend, then you know, yeah, and that's where it all begins. They start grooming them, and the 13-year-olds are more at risk because you know if you think of us when we were 13, we were struggling with our self-esteem. There was a lack of self-awareness, so they target on those vulnerabilities. Yes. They go on Instagram and, you know, they're always looking through Instagram and watching posts, and they engage by, you know, providing, you know, maybe some comments that are flattering, maybe some promises. They'll promise you things. If you help me out with this, you know, I'm going to give you this. And then it becomes like an owing game. So the grooming piece of human trafficking is huge. Not often that they're drugged. And if you think about it, if they start drugging, then they have to pay for that addiction, and they're in for the money. So they don't want to pay for an addiction. So we're very opposite to that.
So then what happens? Do they kidnap these people? Do they, like, again, I'm sorry, naive, just, I have no idea. So tell me, I don't understand. So I get the grooming, but what does human trafficking look like in our city?
Well, when they start to lure them, well, for us, okay, so there's two things. Like they start to groom them and lure them into believing that, you know, they are better. They start to threaten them that if they don't stay within their family, so now they start the emotional abuse, psychological abuse, and even physical abuse so that they don't leave. You know, they threaten their family. If you leave, their family's at risk, and they start to use those types of tactics to keep them within their circle. Often they are removed from their support, right? So, you know, maybe they move them, I don't know, to Toronto or whatever.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Further areas, right? So they move them away from their support. So now they're left alone.
It sounds very sneaky. Like, I'm thinking, like, okay, back to TV. Seems pretty clear cut. You know, we're going to take this girl, off we go. But that is scary. What you're telling me is very frightening, especially because at 13, kids are, I don't know, that's the most sensitive time of their development. And that's not the time you want a perpetrator entering into their world. Like,
oh, they're so vulnerable, very vulnerable. And those are the people that are at risk. I was just going to say, oh my goodness, I just had a thought and it's gone. And I really wanted to say this thought.
You know what? We still have some time. So if it comes back, it'll come back to you. See, look at, it's called Sometimers, girl. I have Sometimers too. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about mentor programs. What are those? Do you have any? Okay, to be a client of the shelter, I'm assuming you don't have to live at the shelter. There's available resources other than just staying there. So you have mentoring programs for getting people on their feet, what's that all look like?
So we service both in our children's program and our women's program. Our children's program is 4 to 21, and we have a children's counselor that does concurrent group for it depends on the age group. So we try to pair up the ages so that, there's some commonalities within that group.
Mm-hmm.
We have a women's support group. We have an empowering you group, one of my most favorite groups here at the Women's Renewal Home. And we have a 2-tier empowering group. So there's a peer support led group, and there's an empowering you group where you basically start off. So, and their topics like employment, training, assertiveness, behavioral inventory, communication, how to live alone and love it. How to plan for the holidays, right?
Nice.
Like. So
now, is there any fee to this? People might ask.
If there's any fee, no.
Do you have to pay to come there?
Absolutely not. All our programs are free. And you're 100% right. You do not have to live here to access our support. We have non-residential counseling that's available by appointment. Now, those programs have changed a little bit with COVID, but we're hoping to get them up and started again in September because we don't know what's going to happen with these phases that keep lifting and the expectations that are placed with social distancing. But they are going to be available virtually. So,
good.
Yeah.
So you're going to do counseling like this? Will you be doing counseling like this as well?
Yep, we are already doing counseling virtually, some children and women, and also over the phone.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Good.
I want to put a plug out there, Julie, that if there's anybody who needs counseling and you are in a situation of domestic violence, please call us. If you don't have the means to access internet or have a phone, call us so we can do an assessment. And, we were able to increase our technology to assist women who are in need. So, keep that in mind. The services are still available.
That's awesome. Wonderful. You are awesome, girl. So what's the future look like? You guys got any big plans at the shelter? What are you looking at doing anything fundraising? What's that piece look like?
So we have our Walk 'em Out our shoes that's actually scheduled for November 20th. And this is our, playful way for men to show their support where they walk around in red heels. Jamie.
Jamie! Oh, God. I'm sure he's watching. Oh, he's got big feet. Poor guy. I can't see him walking in heels.
They are actually men's size shoes, but made into heels.
Get
and
out.
We have up to size 16.
Okay, Jamie. Is he out there? Is he going to answer? Okay, Jamie Morrison. Actually, okay, so that is set for the fall, you said?
Yeah, so I don't know what that's going to look like. Again, it's very dependent on if
could be a 6 feet away walking.
It could be.
It could be a march.
Virtual. We thought about a virtual walk. I don't know, but
I know someone who can help you with that.
Within the next.
Oh, within the next month. Okay, I will help you with anything you need if you need. Just I'm extending the olive branch. I'm also going to extend the olive branch to all the dudes that are listening or anyone that's listening after the broadcast because we are live right now. I would love to get a good crew. You know what? Maybe some of my Jeep buddies or maybe some of my musician friends, and we can have some guys wear some heels. Don't you think that would be great? Maybe play music in heels.
Hey,
could you imagine?
I like it.
Oh, look at
talent in heels. I love it.
Yes, talent in heels. That would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? So next week, I'm having another one of these little broadcast thingies. You happen to know the lady that's going to be joining me. Oh, she just signed in. I think I should send her an invite. Martine, if you can. Oh, shh. Hang on. Let's see if I can. I'll see if I can. My guest for next week is one of my dearest friends. I've known her forever. She is, you know what, I can't wait to do her little video. But I'm going to tell you, she is an amazing individual. She's got quite the story. And with her story is a huge story of survival. And she's pretty impressive. So you know her because she works with you too, does she not?
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does. So we just
exactly who you're talking about.
I just sent her the invite. So let's see. I don't know if she'll sign on, but I would love it if she did. I would love it if she did. So in the meantime, while we see if she does that, I want you to tell me about this picture, okay? Simply because it was so super cute. And I was like, what is she doing?
I'm concerned.
What is this? Can you tell me what this is all about?
Oh my goodness. So this is our wonderful wine night tasting. And we had some wine from Newfoundland. And I decided to dress up while I tasted my wine.
Okay. You try. All right. So I wanted to tell you, you can hear me, obviously. You can see parts of me. So I was thinking more you were having either like a Little Mermaid theme because I saw the crab. I didn't know what you were doing, but how much fun? Were you the only one who dressed up?
No. Where's those pictures?
Oh God. I didn't get those pictures. Okay. So I don't know if I don't think she's out there. I think she's, let's see. I'm going to check one more time. Let's see. Sign in, girl. All right. So we'll give her, because we're going to wrap up our broadcast in a few minutes. So if she's there, I would love for her to come on and say hi. I got to find, you know what I should do is I'm going to do up something for you guys in the near future for the guys in heels. That excites me a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to assume she's not coming. She might show up, but I doubt it. She's not answering, so I think that maybe she's
watching next week.
I think she's busy, but she will be my guest next week. She is she works with the Circles program. She is an educator. She is an LGBTQT plus activist. She's just cool. I love her. She's a cool chick. So I'm going to be having her next week. So be sure to tune in and have a peek. I want to say thank you, Angie, so much.
Thank you, Julie, for doing this.
If we helped one person, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
No problem.
Thanks for doing this. This is awesome. I love that you're bringing
welcome.
people to raise awareness. Anything to raise awareness in our community is 100% what we should be doing more of.
We need to stand together because everywhere else, oh my God, I don't like to watch the news. It's not pretty. So, but on that note, girl, you are loved. I will definitely have you back. Thank you for being my pilot broadcast girlfriend. And again, I'm just going to put this little blurb here. So please reach out if you need help, or if you know someone who needs help, or if you just have a question, or just need someone to talk to point you in the right direction. You are not alone. The worst thing in the world is to feel hopeless. And I, for one, will tell you, there's always hope. There's always hope. So, good night, Miss Marks.
Good night.
Okay,
Thank you,
I'll
Julie.
talk to you soon, girl. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.